Hi, my name's Kathy Skipper and I'm a menopause midwife. Welcome to my channel, The Alchemy of Menopause. This is the first of a series of videos that I'm going to be doing, and each video is going to look at one of the chakras in the seven major chakras in the chakra system and how bringing attention to each of these chakras one by one, working with them, unblocking any blockages can be very, very helpful and supportive to perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. So I did a video a while back on the connection between the Kundalini energy and hot flashes. You might want to look at that video. I can leave a link to it in the comments below. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now as I introduce this work is that the Kundalini energy is a divine feminine energy. In Hinduism, it's referred to as the Shakti energy. And it starts as a coiled serpent at the bottom of the spine. When it's activated, it spirals through the chakras like a snake, activating each of the chakras, and then comes back down and goes back to its position, um, coiled up at the bottom of the spine. And this energy, I believe, is very much connected to, or similar to, or is the same energy as the energy that women feel when they get a hot flash. And that's what the video is about that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Many women responded to that video. You'll see if you look at it. And many women related to this and liked this idea of looking at this divine feminine energy, which is also called the fierce goddess of heat in Buddhism, and making this correlation between that and hot flashes. Some people said, oh, that's very dangerous. You shouldn't look at Kundalini without knowing anything about it. You shouldn't make that correlation. I do believe that Kundalini can be very dangerous when we force it. When I was younger, I was in India, and a series of events happened that, without me knowing it, I triggered a Kundalini experience, and it was very dangerous. I felt the snake energy taking me upwards. It shot me out of my body. I didn't come back down, and luckily somebody was there to help me. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. So yes, Kundalini energy can be dangerous. However, the correlation with with hot flashes that many women experience during menopause is that hot flashes are natural. It's the Kundalini energy. It's much softer. I've experienced both. It's much softer. It comes through us. We're not triggering it. We're not trying to create it in hot yoga classes. We're not trying to stimulate it. It is something that comes because it's the right time. We're in an initiation, which menopause is, and our bodies are triggering it, and it's coming through us. So there's a very big difference between trying to make a Kundalini experience when you're not ready for it, and it's not naturally occurring, and a naturally occurring hot flash. Anyway, all this to say that this energy is connected to our chakras, and Kundalini yoga is very, very much a yoga that works with the chakras. I'm not going to be looking at Kundalini yoga in the sense of yoga. I'm going to be highlighting one chakra per week, so that you can start just to bring attention to it and work with it and heal the things that might come up from it, to help you on your perimenopausal, menopausal journey and beyond. Chakra means disc or wheel and refers to this spinning energy. There are seven major chakras. There are many other smaller chakras, but the seven major chakras is already a lifetime's work. And the spinning wheel or disc of energy is like a vortex, and there's one down between in the perineum, but it's the root chakra, and that's the one we're going to work with today, and that's situated between the anus and the genitals. Then there's one in the sacral chakra, then there's one in the solar plexus, one in the heart, one in the throat, one in the third eye, and there's the crown chakra. Don't worry about it. We're going to be slowly working through one by one. My experience working with the root chakra is that it is vital. We have to start here. The root chakra is our foundation. And if we don't start with the foundation, the ground, with anything we do, we can't really benefit from any other work. We have to be grounded, we have to be rooted. And um, what I love, this, the chakra system and the work on chakras and the mention of chakras originates in India, in the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are these ancient Vedic texts. The Upanishads mention the chakras, and I think that dates back to 600 BC. So you can see how old it is. And in some of the images, you can look this up in Google, you'll get for the root chakra a lotus. It's always a lotus, and the amount of leaves on the lotus change depending on the chakra. So for the root chakra, there are 4 leaves. And often when you look up the images for the root chakra, you'll see a great big elephant below it. And this is a beautiful, for me, this really helped me to understand the energy of the root chakra. It's, elephants are very maternal. They live in matriarchal groups. They're enormous. Their material or their matter, their physicality is huge and very weighted. Think of an elephant's feet and how they're connected to the earth. They're very earthy, and this really helps to understand the energy of this chakra. It's like also with meditation. I always think of meditation as a triangle, and so there's only a little bit of us that's actually connected to the higher realms. And look at how much is grounded. All this is grounded and needs to be grounded in order for us to attain higher levels of awareness. And so that's really this energy that is connected to the root chakra. The reason why this grounded energy is very, very powerful during menopause is because we are in this huge journey of change. And if we embrace this journey, we're not just changing physically, we're changing on all levels of our being. We're changing emotionally, our belief system is changing, our connection to our spirituality, to the goddess is changing. Our whole being is going through an enormous change. And so this groundedness is extremely powerful and important. We can't safely go through this change if we're not grounded. The other aspect of this chakra work is that you will see it if you really seriously start working with the root chakra, that we are going to be shown where any blockages are, what old things are hanging around, keeping this chakra from being full of vital life force, keeping us from being grounded. And another word that comes with this chakra is safety. It's about survival. How do we survive on this earthly plane? And this is really important when it comes to menopause, because the changes in our physicality can make us feel very unsafe. Shit, my body's changing, my skin's changing, my hair's changing, my shape is changing. I feel different physically. I'm not safe. We can easily feel not safe. I don't know how to situate myself. I'm losing my place as a young woman in society. All these things can make us not feel safe. My emotions are changing, so I don't feel safe in myself. What was of value to me before doesn't feel the same anymore, but I don't know who I am. So all these things add up to a feeling of not feeling safe, which is connected. Safety, survival, our place in the world is connected to the root chakra. And Muladhara, which is the name of the root chakra, means root support, like a tree. A tree has often the great big trees, your favorite tree in the world that might be the beautiful big oak or a big cottonwood or a beautiful ash tree. Often these big massive trees, their roots go down into the earth as far as their branches go out into the sky. And so there's this need for deep rootedness in order to grow strong. And that's really, again, what this chakra is about. The color of this chakra is red. Red for blood, red for fire, red for passion, red for incarnation through our blood. And its element is earth. which again is this rootedness. So there are different parts of the body also that are connected to the root chakra. They're often, it's considered that the legs and the feet are the main aspects that are connected to this chakra. I would say the very important part is the coccyx, the tip of the spine. And some people say also the bladder and the colon are very much connected to this chakra. In my experience, and I've had a lot of trouble with my root chakra, with my groundedness, with my embodiedness, with my feeling that I belong, with a feeling that I have the right to survive, to have enough. All these things come up when there's a blockage in the root chakra. And how it manifested through me was a lot of ache in my coccyx. So I always still, now that I've done a lot of healing on this part of myself, I still know when things are off or something's happening that makes me feel that it's off because my coccyx aches. Other people might find an unsteadiness with their feet or problems with their feet and legs, swollen legs, water retention, achy legs, achy joints, bladder problems, especially in women, because bladder represents our space, our personal space in the world, which is to do with the root chakra. This is my space. I belong here. I have a right to belong here. I have a right to survive. I have a right to have what is needed to survive. So one way of beginning to work with this chakra is to just take these parts of the body that I've mentioned and just notice, journal about them, tune into them. How do you feel about them? How are they feeling? The other very important point and reason why it's important to work with this chakra during menopause is because the overarching emotion that is to do with this chakra and points to work needed on this chakra is fear. So menopause triggers fear, as I've just said. Menopause triggers a sense of shit, what's happening to me? I'm frightened. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where to look for what I need to find my way through this. There's also the fear at menopause because lots of things come up that have been buried. In order to become more whole, we have to acknowledge what we've buried in the shadow. So that's why a lot of women feel like, these things are coming up for them. They're crying all the time. They feel more angry. Their emotions are all out of sync. They don't feel themselves. That's because it's natural. And the hormonal triggers are triggering the rest of our psyche and are triggering these deep things that are coming up. And often there's fear to do with these things. Fear in the first place made us repress these things. I'm frightened of looking at them. I'm frightened of the feelings that are involved with this. I'm frightened of admitting certain things that might have happened to you. Or I'm frightened of the energy and the focus that would be needed to overcome these things. And so when we start, this is a warning actually, because when I started to really work hard on my root chakra, a lot of fear came up, and fear that I hadn't really realized was there. And it became a little bit overwhelming. I really had to call in a lot of allies and a lot of support and journal a lot and work with it really focused in a focused way, because the fear started to feel overwhelming. And this is where I invite you to be careful. So this video is about learning what the root chakra is, how it can help us during menopause. I'll give you some more hints and information about it. But in order to really go deeply, you may need support. And I will leave a link below for the resources on my website. Any of those resources, they're not to do with the chakras, they're other resources to do with menopause. But if you click on them, you'll get the resource, and I'll also get your email, and you'll be on my newsletter, because I'm going to be doing a in-depth course on working through the chakras with me. It'll be live online for perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. And when I'm there with you, we'll be able to go deeper, and I'll be able to show you techniques to work through, for example, the fear of the root chakra that comes up with the root chakra. But I ask you to beware. Don't do this on your own if you feel that you definitely will need support. So another aspect that will come up, and this again is really important when it comes to women going through menopause and beyond, is that connected to this root chakra is a feeling of either being enough when it's healthy. I am enough. I belong. I have my place here on earth. I'm healthy. I can give myself a good diet, good exercise. My body's healthy. I am here. The, uh, but what comes up, and this is naturally triggered during menopause, is I am not enough. I am no longer who I am. I don't know who I'm becoming. I am not enough. I'm not enough for a world that makes a cult out of youth because I'm getting older. I'm not enough for my husband or my partner because I'm getting wrinkly, whatever it is. Lots of doubt and feelings of not enough can come up. And this, again, is a root chakra problem. So by working with the root chakra, working through these fears, working through these feelings, this is how we strengthen the root chakra. And one of the aspects that I've learned that is really needed is a trust. So now remember what I said at the beginning. The energy that naturally, the Kundalini energy, so this serpent that is coiled 3 times in 3 coils and is at the base, the root chakra, is asleep at this root chakra, is a feminine, divine feminine energy. So part of working with this root chakra is learning to trust. I would say we shouldn't move on to work with the other chakras until we have found that sense of trust. And the sense of trust is a trusting in the feminine consciousness, trusting that in you, in the earth, in your relationship with the earth, there is a deep feminine knowing that is going to support you. So one of the things that I do a lot that helps me is inside myself, I say, show me the way. And I'm asking this inner goddess, this inner divine feminine energy to show me the way. I'm not trying to find the way intellectually because that's my masculine energy. I'm working with the body, I'm working with the emotions, I'm working with the healing of menopause, or the journey of menopause, which is a deeply feminine journey. So I'm asking something deeper within me that I trust. I trust her. I trust the dark goddess. I trust the divine feminine to show me the way. And this is really going to help this work with the root chakra. So before we look at ways of unblocking and strengthening this chakra, I invite you to relax. Make sure you have a quiet space, time to tune into where you are now. Have your journal and a pen, and I'm going to ask you some questions. You can just write these questions down and then come back to them and journal on them later. But these questions are really aimed at helping you to look at or diagnose your Muladhara root chakra. How healthy, how is the vital energy flowing through that chakra? How connected to your sense of belonging, to the earth, to your groundedness are you, or what needs to be done? So remembering, as I said, menopause will often bring up fears, not being the person you have been, losing your looks, losing your place in the world, losing your relationship with your body as you know it. So there are those fears, and as I said, there are also the deeper fears that you've been carrying for decades since birth. So we have to be aware of these and open to the fact that they're going to come up. They're not coming up to overwhelm you, even though sometimes you may feel overwhelmed. They're coming up for you to heal them. They're coming up for you to integrate them. They're coming up for you to notice that these are the things that have been blocking this vital energy in your root chakra, have been blocking your sense of the right to be here, sense of belonging to yourself. So the questions to journal on. 1, in what way is menopause making you feel insecure and or unstable? How does this manifest? How does this turn up in your life, this feeling of instability or instability or insecurity? And in what areas of your life are you yearning to feel more secure, more stable? I mean, my thing was I wanted to feel that I belonged, belonged to myself, belonged to life. Um, I'd searched all my life for a sense of belonging, and it was this sense of belonging was very much in the heart of my Muladhara block. 2, where do you feel physical discomfort? So remember the parts of the body that are connected to the root chakra: the feet, the legs, the bladder, the colon, and the coccyx. Tuning into these parts of your body, do you feel any unease or disharmony? And what would you need to stabilize in these areas? Or what do these areas need from you? 3, how are you feeling in relationship to your diet and your lifestyle? If you are honest with yourself, where do these aspects of your life need some change? Maybe it's to do with your exercise. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. Maybe you're not going out into nature enough. Maybe your diet isn't healthy. All these things are going to help you solidify and stabilize the root chakra and help you get through menopause. How are you feeling sexually and sensually? Write a few words about how you feel in terms of your self-esteem, your self-worth. This is a big one when we come to perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. How do you feel about who you are and your feelings of worthiness? This is, again, deep root chakra work. What are the fears you have in your life at the moment? Or even just bringing awareness to your root chakra, are there any fears coming up? What's making you frightened? Or what are these old fears that are starting to come into your consciousness? And finally, and this is a big one, I haven't mentioned it yet, but our financial stability in the world is connected to our root chakra. And I don't mean your financial stability because you're reliant on your partner or you're in a job in corporate that you hate. Yes, you might be financially stable, but you're paying a big price. I'm talking about your own relationship with money and finances. How does that flow? Because that's part of the root chakra. When we find it very, very difficult to have more than enough, to be abundant in this way, often there's a root chakra block. And this is huge for women. You know, the women, this is an aside, but I am going to be working on a course for women who, once they go through their menopause and they feel really inspired and they get to see who they really are and they have something to share with the world, it's often very, very difficult to allow enough financial abundance to come in to support that work. And this is huge. This is huge collectively and individually. And it's to do with the root chakra. It's to do with our place in the world. And again, I didn't mention it earlier in enough detail, but if you have any problems with the bladder, with UTIs, this is often to do with this, your place in the world. Okay, so I want to share a little bit about my experience healing this chakra and what's been coming up for me. And as I said before, I'm not suggesting that you go so deeply into this that you find yourself overwhelmed and you don't have the support. Do my course that will, once you sign up to the newsletter, once the course is ready to come out, you will be the first to know. But I think having support is very important. But I want to share a little bit about my journey. So when I started to work on this root chakra work and really started to clear stuff, this overwhelming fear came up about my son, my third son, who has a green card and is going to be asking for his citizenship. And I realized I was terrified that he was not going to get his citizenship. He'd have to leave America. He'd have to leave the heart of our family. He lives with my older son. He has autism, a high functioning autism, but he needs the support of a family. So I sort of had this massive, overwhelming fear. He was going to, it's not going to work and he will end up alone back in England. And this fear took me over at night. And it was one that really did overwhelm me. It took over my physical body. It's like I couldn't get it away. And I realized, well, I'm working on this root chakra and this is something deep. It's about losing my son. So I really felt into the feeling, then I asked myself, well, when was the first time I felt this kind of a feeling? And the first thing that came up was when I was little, my mum had two stillbirths. I desperately wanted a sibling. And my mum was pregnant and nobody told me anything. I remember going to the hospital to see her and looking around. There was no crib, and my mum was in the bed smiling and everything, but there was no baby. And my mum had had a stillbirth, and this happened twice, and nobody told me anything about it. So I realized, well, this was a similar feeling of fear. When I went to the hospital, fearing, because I think I'd probably heard them talking about this. I was only 3 or 4. So part of me knew that something had gone wrong, and I was terrified of it because I so desperately wanted this sibling. So I realized, well, it's not just because my mum lost her baby, I don't have to lose my son. So that helped. And then I went back a bit further. I thought, is there anything further back? And I realized I was born by cesarean. I sort of felt into this feeling of being 4 days stuck in the birth canal, not being able to get out. And finally, my mum having this emergency cesarean. So then I realized, well, just because I was in difficulty when I was in this passage from birth to into life doesn't mean my son in this passage of citizenship doesn't have to be in difficulty, and that I mustn't project these things onto my son. And then I went a bit further back and I realized, well, no, actually in the same period, I realized that um, when I was born by cesarean, in those days, my mum had a full anesthetic, so she wasn't aware of anything. I was taken away. My mum wanted a boy and not a girl, and every time they brought me back to her, she rejected me. She went back to sleep, and this happened for a number of days. So I was not with my mother for the first few days of my life. So then I realized, well, just because I was separated from my mother when I was born doesn't mean that I have to be separated from my son in his life. So I was working through these things. And then I actually took it even further back, and I realized that my great grandmother was taken from her mother in India. Long story, I don't have to, when she was a little girl with her siblings. And I realized, well, just because my great great grandmother had her children taken away by the government in India doesn't mean the government here in America will take my son away. So you see, I'm getting deeper, deeper into these fears of the root chakra that I've been carrying. And because this certain situation was happening with my son and his citizenship, I was projecting them onto him. I was reliving them. They were triggered. And if I hadn't gone back and really worked with the shadow material, that would carry on being a huge fear. I would probably create it in some way happening because I'm putting a lot of energy onto my son with this fear, and my root chakra would continue to be destabilized. So I had to really, really work on this in many different ways. But also, I want to highlight that this can be overwhelming. It was overwhelming for me. Luckily, I had the tools, and that's why I think it's good for women to do the course, and we can work through these things together. Oh, sorry, dogs. Um, so let's just finish by doing some grounding and healing pointers for this chakra. So first of all, the things you can do to support and to begin to bring health and vitality back to this area so it can support you on your perimenopausal, menopausal journey and beyond. So first of all, in order to work with this chakra in any way, we need to slow down. If you're racing around, every minute of the day is filled up, there's no way. We have to slow down. We have to tune in. We have to give ourselves time for reflection, plenty of alone time, plenty of time with yourself, your body, your emotions, your journal. Conscious breathing. So breath is really important. Breath from the root chakra. So one way that I do it is I breathe from the root chakra. So I breathe in and I allow that energy to go down. I feel it at the base of my spine near the perineum. It's as if the root chakra is receiving that breath. You can also visualize the color red associated with this chakra as you do it. Deep, slow breath in through the nose to the root, and then out from the root, out through the mouth. You can do that just as you're meditating, just as you're spending a few moments, just even before you start journaling on these other questions that I gave you, so that you're tuning in to this part of yourself. Other things that can help you to get the energy moving and get health back into this chakra. One thing that I do a lot of is going into nature, walking in nature, walking in the wildest aspects of nature you can, ups and downs where you have to really balance and imagine roots coming out of your feet and you're really connected to the earth. That's really good. Going barefoot in nature is even better. Going and sitting alone by a tree, feeling the energy of the earth holding you and the tree behind you supporting you. All these beautiful things in nature can really help you connect to the root chakra. Gardening, getting your hands in the earth, feeling the earth, working with clay, and eating grounding foods. So foods that are good for this chakra are things like carrots, root vegetables, beetroots, red vegetables, protein, vegetable protein, lentils, tofu, but also rare meat if you're a meat eater. Rare meat will really anchor you. Okay, so then the other thing that I think is really good, I have a roller blend. I'll put the link to it at the bottom of this video. It's an earth blend of essential oils done properly with the right dilution, and it's in a roller blend. So you can actually put it on your feet. You can put it where you can smell it. It's well diluted, so there's no danger. So what I usually do is I smell that and then spend some time massaging your feet and your legs. So look at every toe. As you imagine my hand are my toes. Take time to feel every toe, love it up, massage it, put some of the earth blend on it so that it's got these earthy oils like that vetiver, sandalwood, frankincense, patchouli, and massage your foot with conscious awareness of this foot that takes you through life from birth to death, that connects you to the earth. Really give it your attention, and then up into your legs. So every time you have a shower, you could do this. And notice any emotions that come up, any feelings that come up, any blockages or stagnation, anywhere that it hurts. Bringing attention to this part of yourself is going to give you that anchoredness. Wiggle your toes when you're doing it. Get them splayed out. Really consciously move your feet, your toes, your heels, the balls of your feet, your ankles, and then up through your legs. And then do the same when you're walking in nature. Really, like I said, roots that go from your feet into the earth, and really feel yourself a part of the earth. Okay, so that was just a quick look at the root chakra. And as I said, I'm going to be leaving the links to the things I mentioned below. And next week, we'll look at the second chakra, which is the sacral chakra. And if please, any questions, anything that I could sort of go deeper on, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will happily go into something that's come up here to make it even more helpful for you. So lots of love. And if you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.